What? Oh, we are fancy. All right. Oh, well, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the August. Grab a seat, girls. It's all good.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, grab a seat. Great. Oh, well, we will start because it's 1 o'clock. Welcome everybody to the August Golden Bay Community Board meeting. I'll hand over to Councillor Hill and Board Member Hewison for a karakia and welcome Simon.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi mahana a whio koutou te miti a koe chair ebi, a karakia tātou. Whakatakata hau ki te uru, whakatakata hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e he ake ana te atukura, he tio, he huta, he hauru, a ti hei mauri ora. Cease the winds from the west, cease the winds from the south, let the bracing breezes blow over the land, let the bracing breezes blow over the sea, let the red-tipped dawn come with the sharpened air, a touch of frost and the promise of a glorious day.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome and thanks to Elaine for coming over and supporting us while Jess is on leave. We're very much appreciative. Thank you very much. Do we have any, no apologies, do we have any leave of absence? Does anyone need to finish or be gone at any particular time? Lovely. So nothing to do with it, there's nothing to speak, nothing about. Lovely. Okay, into public forum. No, I don't. Yeah, declarations after public forum, yeah. So we have 30 minutes allocated for public forum with 6 speakers allocated 5 minutes each. Speakers must be respectful, avoid repetition and criticism of elected members and or staff, and avoid speaking on matters subject to legal proceedings. I believe we have 3 today, so we'll start with Blondie. Where was she? There she is. You tagging in someone else? Lovely.
On behalf of the Bahara tennis courts, the Bahara Recreation Reserve tennis courts, we're a small group of tennis players who use the courts on a regular basis all year round. Their main concern is the condition of the pavilion. This has suffered vandalism over the past few years as it is in need of action to tidy it up and somehow make it unattractive for these types. It has also been used as sleeping for homeless on occasions. We'll not discuss with the council what we can do at a reasonable cost to repair and preserve this asset. Also, the trees around the courts need thinning. On another note of the courts, the hot mix surface is breaking down badly and slumping. This is causing puddles which often need sweeping before use. We'd love the council to research the courts if there was reserve money available. The lines also need repainting. If the council cannot do this for the community, maybe they could supply the paint so a group could do it. The surrounding fences are becoming loose from the bottom wire. This needs attention by a qualified person to tidy it up. It's only going to get worse in time. Facility is used by many visitors as well as locals, and we can present them a lot better. The group we use on a regular basis, 2 days a week we play social tennis. We've got limited resources ourselves of what we can do, and it is a community asset, the tennis courts, which does get used a lot. So we just like to know what the council can do for us. Yeah, we have actually written to the council several times over the past years. And at one stage, actually, one employee of the council in reserve in Richmond suggested, well, if they need that much work doing to them, we may be best to shut them down. So that's not the answer we want.
No.
As far as the vandalism on the pavilion goes, I take it there's been mainly drug use in there. They've actually wrecked the place. tagged it, or tagged the mural on there. It's actually quite unsightly. I would not like to let any visitor see what is there, you know? It's not a good look. Terrible. So, yeah. Where can we go from here? Thank you.
Thank you. Arnev, am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Great. Welcome, Arnev.
Thank you so much. I've got a few printouts if Julie would like to just go through showcasing what I do. Is that something that you guys have a look at? Okay, so thank you for having me. I wish to extend my heartfelt appreciation to your unwavering dedication to nurturing Golden Bay's artistic endeavors. Today I bring a matter of immense importance. My name is Arnav Taude. I'm a resident of Golden Bay and the director of Yatra Festival, which happens in Tasman district. I'm an artist, a designer, and event organizer. I've worked with the Golden Bay Arts Council, directing their show's theatre show. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got 8 years of experience working in multiple roles in most New Zealand big festivals of music and art, where I've seen only the positives of people gathering and having connections and making lifelong friendships and entering spaces where it's only positive for them. Regretfully, our recent application for funding for Creative New Zealand did not get accepted. This outcome has placed significant financial strain on me and my team. I'm here to request your support in acknowledging the intrinsic value of Yatra Festival to our region and community, and to kindly provide us a support letter. The letter will be crucial as we engage with Creative New Zealand and funding organizations, ensuring that our efforts receive the recognition and backing they deserve after all these years. Yatra Festival transcends being a mere event. It is a passion-driven community endeavor firmly devoted to fostering local artist growth and community engagement. This year we had a crew of 200, which included musicians, artists, performers, local vendors, crews, volunteers, which it took to make this festival actually happen. So it is a space of creativity and creatives coming together and showcasing what artistic expression can actually provide. Amongst financial uncertainties, our commitment lies in nurturing an environment where creativity thrives and artistic expression flourishes. Yatra stands as a beacon of hope, offering an alcohol-free, family-friendly, environmentally conscious, and inclusive festival that unites our society and celebrates New Zealand's diversity, life experiences, culture, and religious identities. Over the years, we have poured countless hours of dedication into refining our festival, aim to create an event that fosters creativity. As we navigate the challenging present by the recent outcome, we are committed to explore every possible avenue to secure and reserve resources needed to make Yatra Festival for next year's a possibility. With the upcoming Creative New Zealand Fund round opening on 4th of September, time is of the essence. We are eager to reapply for funding, hopefully for a more favorable outcome. We have engaged in conversations with 6 to 7 other similar event organizers around New Zealand who share the same mission, indicating potential misunderstanding during the evaluation process about the value and ethos of transformational festivals like Yatra and many others. Festivals like ours are run and organized by individuals, not trusts like me, who take the entire financial risk on our shoulders to support our community's creativity. The cost of my last festival was $200,000, which I took all on myself. So in a loss, I could go down for 10 years just trying to pay it off. We firmly believe that our commitment warrants a higher level of support and funding, exceeding that according to the trusts and city councils that get endorsed normally by Creative New Zealand. The Creative New Zealand Festival grant was $4 million. It's meant for all organizations in the festival environment as we all work together to enhance the lives of New Zealanders. We feel like our efforts have been overlooked, ignored, and need support to be acknowledged. The Tasman district history boasts of decades of festivals and dance parties, which have contributed to the culture and legacy of Golden Bay over the last 30 years. Many of you might have been part of it or know somebody who's definitely attended a festival in this region. While the past might have cast a shadow, the new generation of organizers are committed to rewrite this narrative. We aim to transform festivals into a community enriching event that showcases art and talent rather than being dismissed as derogatory gatherings.
Coming up
This-
to 5 minutes.
Am I done?
You've got 1 more minute.
That's absolutely fine. The shift reflects our dedication to elevate the reputation of festivals, repositioning them as integral aspect of the cultural fabric. As we strive to secure resources for the next year for Yatra Festival, I humbly request an endorsement as an event of cultural importance. This insight could play a pivotal role in sustaining our initiative growth and success. As a collective, we firmly believe in the alignment of Yatra Festival's objectives towards creative New Zealand. Yatra is an invaluable contributor to the well-being of the community too in Tasman district. Supporting Yatra Festival is an investment in nurturing the next generation of artists, creatives, ushering in a new era of artistic brilliance. Thank you for your dedication, your time and consideration in this matter. We can collaborate to ensure the flourishing of Yatra Festival and its positive impact on the creative culture and community. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bill, welcome back.
I'm back with the same subjects that kicked me out of, I break the rules.
You've got 5 minutes.
Can't repeat. Yeah, I've talked to Damien O'Connor. She said, get back to the community board, what we can do about some sort of launch dock at the ramp at the Port Cherokee. There's been a massive amount of infrastructure built there for the mussel industry, and there's been 4 years waiting for that. So I was told that there is a considerable rush to get the facilities done for the mussel industry before they bugger off. They're not going to bugger off anywhere because the growth of mussels in Golden Bay, and considering there's no other place to put it, they're not going to go off. I've met a considerable amount of resistance fundraising for something that's behind a gated access that they have to pay a fee for to go launch the boat. I was told to contact RADA Foundation, but they're only for more native and underprivileged areas where we're just like the white folks that want to launch our boats. So I've asked numerous times what that 1/3 reduction, the third pontoon at the marina was removed to save $1.2 million, $1.29 million. And I've been told that Nick James said, well, that was before his time, so I can't get that. That just seems to be sort of ridiculous when there's over 50 recreational boats there right now. The marina only carries 32, and those are all super yachts. Very few of those boats that are there right now are going to be able to go forward there. And there's a number of moorings that are going to be removed for it. But the whole thing is just based on getting all this money, millions and millions of dollars into the mussel industry when the general public trying to launch a boat safely out there without getting in the water or crawling onto the boat has been ignored for generations. So I don't know where to go from here. I took a little seminar on pledging, but I doubt if I want to go there. Trying to raise funds for a launch facility behind a toll gate. It's going to cost $150, so somewhere around there to launch it here. I've never been to a facility that I can recall this large. It doesn't have a launching dock where you have to stand on your boat or go into the water. And twice out there, once I was injured, once I almost lost my boat. The third time I launched successfully because there was no wind to go sailing. So I'm here for that reason. I think that it's long overdue for a safe launching facility. I don't think that, I think that Nick Jim's offered to, for a couple extra floating floats after the whole thing was done. I think that's just, and so, oh, we'll give you a couple of these and have a couple more places to park your dinghies. I just think it's really unfair, and I would like the council to consider some funding to get a launching facility, a dock, as was shown in the plan of July of 2019. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. That's really good. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our public forum speakers. Are there any declarations of interest around today's agenda from any of the board members?
Yeah, on the trust of Newwood 2042.
Thanks for that.
I used to play tennis. It's a joke.
Excellent. Okay, did you get that, Ella? All right. So we need to confirm the minutes from July. Can I have a mover? Has everyone had a chance to go over those? Everybody's happy? Great. Can I have a mover for that, please? Moved by board member Hewison, a seconder. Seconded by board member Henry Jackson. There we go. It took me a minute, sorry. All those in favour? Right, lovely, thank you. With the late items, Elaine, we need to probably put our names into that, do we? Or do we just, because it's in public forum, we can just retrospectively, or would it be better to have it as a late item?
Do you normally talk to public forum later on in your board?
Not
don't?
really, we put it off till
Okay,
we acknowledge it and then say what we're going to do.
so you're not making any decision today, are you? You're just sort of going to discuss the way forward with that?
Well, he wants a letter of support by the 4th of September, so does that need to be a late item?
You could retrospectively approve that at your next
Okay,
meeting
yeah,
if you
should we
sort
do
of
that?
agree in principle.
We'll do that then when we get to that, but yep,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so we're into our presentations, and our first presentation today we have Mahua 2042 with Debbie. Hey Debbie.
You guys got the presentation, I sent it through to you.
I was just commenting on that, we don't.
I bought it on stick as well.
Right. Oh, I was gonna say, why did it- I could, if you give it to me, I could email it around quickly.
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yes, that works.
Make sure I've got a hole for it.
USB port.
Now everyone's
Not a
watching.
hole.
Now everyone's watching. Oh no, it's not recognised. Yeah. Oh no, it does. Oh, it didn't like it at all. No, I'm gonna take that out. It's the your USB malfunction. Yeah, it's not accepting. Well, it's probably fine. It's just my computer. Sorry. Okay. Probably gonna be fine. Yeah, try.
I suspect it's a security.
I think it is a security.
I think
Very
thing.
Did you want me to maybe do the other presentation first and then I can get it through?
No. Oh, we could actually, that would work if that's right with you, Debbie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll just get it sent
If we
through.
swap presentations and pop Barbara up first, if that suits you, Barbara. Fantastic.
And who do I get it sent through to you, Elaine? or-
Grant, you probably
Yes.
have it. Not in this, not in
No,
this.
that's fine.
So
My
it's
other
first
email
name,
address
full
is-
stop, second name, so it's Elaine.Stevenson.
Two,
Elaine
yes,
Stevenson.
but two different.
All right, so we'll do a quick shuffle. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks for being very accommodating for that. All right, so we'll switch to climate change and resilience. Right.
It will be a
Oh,
minute
on the website,
attachment on the
yeah.
website.
On the website.
Oh, hang on, it doesn't seem what they will be a second. Now try clicking.
All right, well, kia ora koutou. My name is Barbara Levando. I'm Tasman District Council Senior Climate Change Policy Advisor. And thank you very much for the opportunity to have me here. The objective of this short presentation is just to provide a brief overview of the work that Tasman is doing into the climate change space. So I joined council just a couple of months ago. I'm not being with council for too long. The work that we're doing follows government guidance. That's the work that council does usually. And we're working on, whoops. hold on.
Sorry, that's my fault.
No, no worries, that's fine. And we're working on the area of climate change adaptation, mitigation, and we worked around collaboration as well. And what you see, the slide that you see there is there is a lot of work that is happening at the moment, especially in the last couple of years here in New Zealand. And we are, and so that we're aligning ourselves with government guidance that has legislation in place through the Carbon Act, and it's got as well is working around legislation on adaptation as well, specifically on managed retreat. So how are we going to adapt and how we're going to move? A couple of months ago, when I came on board, I was asked to put together a strategy, the first Tasman climate response strategy, and with it supported by a policy and an update what is the Tasman Climate Change Action Plan. It's a plan that is being developed in 2019 by Tasman District Council and was updated to bring to the fore the latest type of information and work that needed to be done. In a nutshell, the climate change response strategy now brings together national, local, and international type of consideration. So Tasman District Council is aligning itself with international governance frameworks as well, and climate change type of frameworks around the world. So the Paris Agreement, Sustainable Development Goals, always following government guidance. Up here.
And I'm changing everything on my screen.
Yeah, good. So here is a quick overview of the mitigation work that we're doing. I don't know if you heard, if you read around the paper that I guess that I'm not controlling those. Elaine? No, that's all right.
Sorry.
It's not a problem. Around mitigation, we are working on going forward. Fantastic. So we're working on tree planting. There's quite a lot of work that is going on in Golden Bay as well. We are working, there's significant amount of work that is happening around waste. There is a waste minimization type of plan that is now being updated together with Nelson City Council. We work quite a lot at regional level to make the most of the resources that we have. We have just launched our e-buses. We got 17 brand new buses that are going across the region, and they are electric buses. We've been working on different type of programs and opportunities that came from national government. One of them is the Streets for People, and the other one is the transport choices. And so that our mitigation work works around this kind of items and actions. We're looking quite a lot at energy efficiency within our infrastructure, community infrastructure stuff that we have, from the swimming pool in Richmond to work that we're carrying out here in Golden Bay. And specifically within our corporate organizational environment, we are in the process of converting most of our fleet to electric as well. So we have created the first community greenhouse gas inventory for Tasman. And so that we're now analyzing the results of that inventory, and with that we're going to understand where best we're going to abate our carbon footprint. One of the big issues that we have in our region is waste. so that we need to really bring our the greenhouse gas emission that we produce through our waste lower. And so we're analyzing now the results, and we will be looking at options, including organic composting and so forth and so on. Now, adaptation work here in Tasman has been going on for a number of years, and there is a quite a simple type of philosophy. Those are the philosophy that usually work the best. And it's the philosophy that we're behind the work that we're doing in climate change in general is really that we're all part of the same, we all have a part to play. The climate crisis does not look at communities, does not look at boundaries, does not look at my house, your house, or anything, cuts through anything. And so that through adaptation work that we're doing, we really are calling for collaborating with communities and really together play that part and find those solutions. Some of those solutions are going to be discussed. So we're going to be starting to do conversations, and we will need pretty much to start in adaptation specifically around the basics. Really, how can we be better informed? How can we actually talk because of science information that we have that come usually either from international type of science, regional, national, all the way to local? How do we incorporate the knowledge that local people have historically? You live here all your life, some of you, some others, maybe even a couple of months, but you've seen some of the issues that there are. And so how can we work together in order to bring that information, in order to make us what it's called more resilient, in order to allow us really to think, breathe, and then provide solutions together around climate resilience. And this in collaboration not only with our team partners across the region, in collaboration with businesses, communities, all types of communities, with key agencies. There are a number of agencies that are within this region, with businesses and key industries. Heard before, fisheries and forestry and many of the industry that we have. So this is, I'm not going to go into the details, but this provides you at a very high level how the adaptation work program of Council has been thought. As I said before, there is a national direction that we need to follow, and the national direction is informed by international type of agreements that New Zealand has done, and all together as countries we're trying really to abate and adapt to the changing climate. There is a significant project that has been launched a few months ago here in Tasman, which is the Regional Climate Change Risk Assessment. This is the first time that the region, so together with our colleagues from Nelson City Council, we have started to map and get all the data that we have in order to actually understand what are the risks that we have. And so the output of this is going to be a geospatial. It's a data type of a tool that is going to inform us at a very, very specific level where our risks are, and then understanding what our options are, what our costs are going to be. And we're going to be coming soon to Golden Bay as well to discuss, to start conversations around risk, to gather data, to present some of the data that we have collated, and then understanding what are the historical risks, like I said before. All this is within this strategy that is pretty much, the strategy is our map. The strategy that we have developed, which is under consultation, has been under consultation, excuse me, up to a couple of months ago, 2 months ago, and can be viewed in our Tasman District Council website. And with that, all this information has built upon the many years of work that Tasman District Council has been doing around climate change adaptation. Like I said before, tree planting, coastal management, building resilience of rural infrastructure, nature-based solution. We're working a lot at catchment type of levels, and our resource management colleagues have been working for many, many years to improve the environment, improve the life of the people across the module here. Again, maybe Elaine?
No, you should be fine. No.
Should be fine. Okay, good. I'm gonna just keep on that one. This is just the projects, but it's so small that it's not quite. These slides are gonna be available for all of you to read. These actually have got more detail about the projects that we've been doing, but I would like actually to just move to this slide to make the best of our time. A couple of months ago, I believe most of you know that Tasman District Council came into Golden Bay as well to understand what were the issues, where were the ambitions, and where were the opportunities for the next for Golden Bay. And so that among the issues, these are the issues that are really the ones that you have identified, specifically during the long-term plan workshops that took place here in the regions a couple of months ago. You have identified as your issues the need to adapt, the need to better understanding how you need to understand risk from climate change, and how we will need together, and I'm using my words very carefully here, how we will need together to manage any type of considerations that are going to come up regarding managed retreats in those places that we require managed retreats. And together, how are we going to plan going forward to become more resilient as a community, resilience of our assets, resilience of our agriculture, resilience of our industry, a resilience of our people, resilience of our iwi partners, resilience of our younger generation. You have been highlighting the need of discussing through this journey that we're going to be taking with the foundation of the Regional Climate Change Risk Assessment, how we're going to be thinking together about what local solutions are going to be best applied in order to solve some of the problems that we have. A number of you, and especially within the younger type of demographic, the demographics, have been asking to improve the cycling infrastructure that you have and connect better Kohara to Takaka. That's what we heard. And there was a very strong voice of the young people that was asking to really, how can you better support them in those activities that are going to create opportunity, whether we call them green jobs, if we want to be very fancy, or we want to call them utilizing different forms of expression, including art, in order to educate ourselves into what risk look like and how we're going to mitigate and adapt to a changing climate. This is just the very last slide. That's where you can find within. We have a portal that is called Shape Tasman, and Shape Tasman has our climate change response strategy, has its action plan as well. It's got some information. We are in the process of revamping a little bit this portal in order to make it a hub where we can actually inform ourselves, each other, us as a community, in order really to be able to take best informed decisions. This in parallel with the work that government is doing. So at the moment, like I did mention at the very beginning, government is thinking about what the climate change adaptation is going to look like, and who's responsible for managed retreat, and how we going to actually share the load of something that is so big that I think Cyclone Gabrielle and a number of other hazard and weather-related events that are happening as we're speaking across the globe are really demanding us actually to put our hands together, our heads together, our hearts together, and because that's the only way that we're going to be solved crisis. And hopefully together, collectively, we'll be able to hand over a better world to the young, maybe not so young, future generation, because as we're talking, we're all aging, and so that, yeah, and make our location, our place, not only a better place. A better place is not difficult to make it a better place. We already have a fantastic, beautiful place with wonderful community, but actually making an example, not just for our location, nationally, regionally, and internationally. So we have an incredible opportunity. For this, I remain available to provide advice. That's my work. That's my role. I'm an advisor. And I will be delighted to guide the community board, the community, in all whichever way my knowledge allows me and my role allows me, really to build the resilience that we need and mitigate from what we have ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. That's excellent. Does any board members have any questions for Barbara?
Should we as be leading the government, do we have to always take our response from what the government are telling us what they can do? Can we not, as a region, and we say act locally and look at local solutions and for local problems, can we not actually turn it around and say to the government, this is actually what we need here in Golden Bay or in Tasman? Because, I'm sick of waiting for the government to act. They're too slow. And I went to a very interesting talk recently about degrowth by Jack Santa Barbara, and his message was pretty clear. And for those who didn't see it, go to the talk, I suggest, I'm not sure how we can get that to happen, but I think we need some pretty big changes here, and I'm just wondering how we can move forward. We talk about forestry, but if it's just going to be pines again, what's the point? So I think local solutions. I don't know if that's actually a question, but it's certainly my feeling about what's going on.
Yes. So I represent an organization, a local council organization. The short answer is anything, whether it's a local council organization, whether it's a community, whether it's an individual, we as people have the power to lead. It's upon us. Again, this is societal type of challenges that we have at the moment, requires everybody to chip in. And so that we need to help each other. We actually, within Tasman, we follow government type of guidance, like I said at the beginning, but we advocate and we lobby very hard for pushing faster on behalf of the voices in our communities that are asking for. Now, I think that here in Golden Bay, what I can see is a fantastic smaller community that has historically been very local on a number of environmental, societal, art as well, through art, through different means of way of discussing and talking. And so that it's not for me to give an answer, but we will, as Tasman District Council, keep on lobbying and advocating for improvement, betterment, and doing things faster. It will be, this fantastic community that together will start leading the charge. There are many, many councils around the world that do lead. So it's upon all of us, you pushing for change, us pushing for change, and together make that change happen again.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Great. Thank you so much for coming over, Barbara. It's great.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So we'll flick back to Debbie. Debbie, your presentation hasn't come through yet.
No,
We might just...
no one accepts USB.
Oh, no, it would be the same. Sorry, I thought you were going to email it from yours. That would be the same for all this. The whole system is closed.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's okay. We
We'll just
go
go
without it.
the
Yeah, is that okay?
presentation, of course.
Great. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you all of the community board, but such a beautiful presentation and such a gorgeous lead-in to a discussion about Mohua 2042, because Mohua 2042 is all about Golden Bay getting together as from the grassroots and saying, this is a sustainability strategy, this is what we want to see going into the future. So let me tell you a little bit about what the division was that came out of, we had a huge number of gatherings, we had hui, we had stakeholders invited forum, we had online participation from people in the community, we had drop-ins at the market, and out of all of that community input came this strategy, the Mohua 2042 strategy, and I think most of the board have seen it already, but there's copies online on the council website. So what was the vision that came out of that gathering of everybody's thoughts? The vision was a thriving community and a healthy environment, put really simply. So it was about a flourishing community that is adaptable, caring, and inclusive. We work in concert with nature to preserve and improve our environment, and our sustainable approach inspires others. So that whole idea was we're nurturing a culture of connection to the land, of connection to each other, of connection inward. And a culture of caring and a culture of community, and one where we step forward with confidence as the community and say, this is how we would like our future. So who benefits from a strategy like this? Well, I think Barbara's just said it beautifully. The Golden Bay community, the wider community benefits from us all working towards a better future. The environment benefits. And of course, where we can inspire other communities, then we start, we're the little drop in the pond that ripples out and starts to show others at the grassroots how you can take ownership for our future and make a change. So how did the strategy come about? Well, it was clear that there was a strong belief and in wanting a more sustainable future. But you need to be able to envisage it. You need to be able to put your vision into writing in order to get there. And so this strategy was about envisaging what we want as a community and looking at the ways, the strategies that we can take and the actions that we can take to get there. So what's in the strategy? Well, it captures the visions and aspirations of the community. It outlines key strategies for each, broken into categories, and it outlines key strategies for each of those categories. It celebrates the things that we already do really, really well, because we're a fantastic small community that is very conscious of these things. There's already a ton that goes on. So the strategy sort of provides like a celebration and a link to that. And it also identifies the gaps. What are the things that we feel we need to do more about? And it proposes a project that will fill those gaps. And it's a living document. So we've just updated it again, and we will continue to update it as new projects come online and new ideas come through, new collaborations start.
Will you print out booklets? Sorry, I'm just wondering, will the booklets continue to be updated?
No, we won't be able to continue printing out the booklets, unfortunately. That was a one-off funding, but it is continually updated online. Yeah. And how is it going to become a reality? Well, first of all, we formed a trust called the Mohua 2042 Trust, and thanks to the support of the community board to help make that happen alongside council who also supported us. The trustees are myself, Grant, Reggie, and Mark Manson. So we have 4 trustees. And the next thing that we're looking at doing is putting in place systems that give community a voice. So the first of those that we'll talk to in a little more detail is called the Wellbeing Protocol, which is about empowering community decision making. And the next is purpose-owned businesses. which is about setting up a, well, Reggie will talk a bit more to it, but it's about setting up businesses that are community and purpose-owned, community-minded, purpose-owned. And then the last way we're doing it is collaboration, you know, working with as many other organisations who are also working in this area. So I've got a list, but man, it's pretty small when I can't see it all. So we're working with the Nelson Tasman Climate Forum, with Project Mohua, with the Sustainable Living Centre, with the Wellbeing Protocol team, and there's more to come in the future. We just keep looking for where we can work together with other areas, and hopefully already we do some work with TDC, but Barbara, I'm hoping there's more that we can do in collaboration with TDC as well, where we can help bring the grassroots side to that equation. So I'm going to hand over to Reggie, who's also going to have to look at this tiddly-widdly little printed off in miniature. And he's going to talk to us about the Wellbeing Protocol and purpose-owned business.
Thank you. So the first piece, the Wellbeing Protocol, is basically an app that more or less anybody in the community can have on their smartphone. It allows anyone in the community to submit ideas that could be funded. So these would be smaller amounts of money to fund these ideas. So it would be like planting trees in the village green, or there's a lot of examples I think that were coming to mind when you were presenting, Barbara, in terms of what we could do locally to around like mitigation for the effects that are coming. So this allows basically, empowers anyone to submit ideas, and then shows all those ideas to anyone who has this app. And those ideas are then voted on by the community, and the ones that get enough votes, they get funded. The projects are anywhere from like say $50 to maybe like $1,000. So a lot smaller projects. And I think the idea here is that by moving the decision making closer to the people that are closest to the effects, positive or negative, I think you can get better decisions, and you can do actually quite a bit with not much money. And it also reduces the administration costs, so you don't have to say submit a grant application to plant that fruit tree and spend all this time just to get the $50, and then you plant the fruit tree, but it actually costs you maybe 3 times that of time to get the money. So here you just type in the idea, people vote on it, and then the money can come through. So that's the Wellbeing Protocol that we put together on behalf of Mohua 2042, a grant of about, I think it was $5,000 that we applied for to get that going. But the idea is that, and this is where the purpose-owned companies come in. So purpose-owned companies essentially exist in this area between for-profit and nonprofit. So each of them have, positive pieces and somewhat maybe challenging pieces. So on the for-profit side, there's obviously a motivation to make money for the shareholders. On the nonprofit side, a lot of times it requires ongoing funding. So what we are seeing with the Mohua 2042 is a lot of these efforts, we want to be sustainable. We want them to be able to fund themselves, but we don't want them to be taken over by profit motives. So how do you find that balance? With purpose-owned companies, basically you have a level above the board, trustee level, that holds the board accountable for the reason the company was organized in the first place. So you could have, say, what would be a good idea? Say it's for the tennis courts. I don't know how good this example is going to be, so forgive me if it doesn't go well. So there could be some sort of purpose-owned company that comes together to that makes a little bit of money, but not much, to care for the tennis courts. There could be, say, membership. Maybe this is a bad idea because Pohara tennis courts is not like very scalable in terms of a purpose-owned company, so you might have a difficulty in raising investment and things like that. But maybe a better example would be like CSA, or like collecting or distributing food around Golden Bay, say. So we've got all this food in Golden Bay, we want to distribute it more equitably, but we don't want to rely on a profit-driven company to do that because they would be motivated to extract as much wealth as possible from that venture. But a purpose-owned company could be run in such a way that, okay, that company makes enough money to sustain itself, but we know it's never going to be driven overly by profits. So with a purpose-owned company, usually what happens is if you have a sort of bumper crop year, you have a really good year, those additional profits go back into the community, go back to the stakeholders of the company. And one of our ideas is that these companies could actually give to the Wellbeing Protocol. So companies in the community could, say, allocate a certain percentage of their profits every year to give to these community projects. So we talked about the Wellbeing Protocol. Say if 2% of all company profits locally went to fund community projects, that could provide really nice exposure for those companies. It could provide a nice funding for these community projects. And this is sort of like the first full circle. Yeah, happy to talk more about purpose-owned companies or caps on profits, things like that. And I think already there are amazing companies here in Golden Bay that are doing things along these lines already. So part of what we're doing at Movement 2042 is really wanting to celebrate those companies that are already doing amazing things here. So anyway, that's a little bit about those two projects.
So just to wrap up before we take questions, what we're really keen to have from the community board is your feedback and potentially your support for the Wellbeing Protocol, because we will be providing for funding, and we already have to the TDC grant, to see that funding pool, which then is used for distributing to make the Wellbeing Protocol work. Then support from the community board would be really, really useful. And we're also looking for an endorsement to the Mohua 2042 sustainability. So open to any questions.
With the there's an app, is it up and running? Is it functioning out? Is it being used? Is it
Yeah.
in Golden Bay?
Not in Golden Bay. There's a small group near Wellington. So a small group, I think it's maybe 15 people that are part of this like fitness center. So it's Marty sort of group, and they're spending money to support the well-being of the people who attend that place. So, but the group is intending to expand both within New Zealand and internationally. So this is a small nonprofit based in New Zealand. And the app is already built. We've got a grant, and Debbie and I have it on our phones. We're happy to, anybody who wants to download it could download it. Yeah, it's available.
And that's the platform through which projects will be suggested.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Wellbeing Protocol have asked us, the Golden Bay community, if we would be happy to pilot this
Right.
as
So
a
the
small
trials.
community. Yeah.
Yeah, it's say like it's quite simple to use, so that's like a benefit. They've been working on this for a while, but yeah, it's actually pretty easy to,
Thank you. In terms of when you say on the website, when you say on the website that you, where
It's on
the,
the TDC website.
It's actually not, the link is broken, I've just checked.
I'll just be
Oh.
checking too.
Mm.
So in,
Follow that up.
so that's the only place it's available
Yes, well,
is on the TDC website?
yeah,
Yeah, on the website.
no,
So,
yeah, no, we've had it on the TDC website, so it's been there up until just maybe
the link's still there, it's just,
It's just not coming up.
no,
Yeah, but
oh,
yeah.
let the web people
well,
know.
it might be that they're in the process of pulling the old one down and putting the new one up.
Cool. And just in terms of examples in the Bay
Mhm.
of organisations or companies here, could you give an example of what they might be doing? You might need to name them more, but
Yeah,
interested in what types of things are happening?
yeah, totally. So, so I won't name any names,
Yeah.
so I don't accidentally make any
Yeah.
commitments for them. But there's a company who's talked about giving 10% of their profits to support community projects. So if that happened, then basically, yeah, 10% of those profits could go into these small community pots on the wellbeing protocol. One thing I didn't mention is within the wellbeing protocol, there's a role like the steward role. So the projects have to fit a constitution. So that constitution is viewable by anybody who has the app. So, and the stewards make sure that the projects that are submitted and voted on match with the constitution. So if it's like, say, climate mitigation type activity, and any idea that's approved has to match that. And the businesses could specifically say, these are the types of projects we want to fund. But yeah, there's a business in the Bay that's talked about giving 10% of the profits. And these could be any types of businesses, right? So they could be small, they could be much bigger. Obviously, the bigger they are, most likely more money could come to functioning projects, but all would be welcome, of course.
Yeah, and is the app's available to get a hold of?
The app could be, I think it's available to anybody to download. And then if you download it, you just let me or one of us know that you downloaded it, and then we can add you to the Golden Bay test community. So you could try it out.
Oh, cool.
And
I think, Chris, that one of the things that's already happening is that within that is the community, the mussel farm money that comes through, you know, that was a
Community trust?
community trust. That's kind of, you know, it's not running through this app, of course, but it's the same sort of concept of a profitable amount coming back to the community. So it's similar. That's probably a good example, this sort of thing.
We've got a couple of minutes left. If anyone has any other questions for Penny and Reggie?
Is there still impetus? So when you sort of got going and, you know, there's sort of a energy with this, and you're still finding there's an impetus that you've got going, there's some momentum?
I think that it started up again now that the trust is in play and we've got these new projects that we're gathering around. So
Yeah.
the momentum went, it was a little more stagnant, you know, while we tried to do all the admin to get everything up and going and, you know, get a trust so that we could get funding.
Yeah.
But now we've got a bank account, we've got a trust, you know,
Yeah.
that's only happened in the last month.
Yeah.
It's all come together. And so now, you know, we've got all these great ideas and some good stuff happening, the impetus is building.
Cool.
I've just got a question. You know, any type of business can decide to give a percentage to the community. So I'm just not sure about the difference between a purpose-owned company and any business that decides to give a percentage of their profits. Is the idea that that business, which would just be a normal business, would be registered through this app or would they not qualify to be registered through the app because they're just a standard business?
yeah, really good question. So I really mixed when I mixed two things which don't necessarily need to be overlapped.
Right.
So a business doesn't have to be purpose owned to give to these community projects. And if the business is purpose owned, there's more, there's basically an incredibly high level of trust that the company won't be managed just for profitability. That the purpose for which it's organized comes at or actually above making money. So that's the advantage of purpose owned business, yeah. But they don't have to be, they're not mutually exclusive. The other thing just to mention related to climate mitigation is that with purpose-owned businesses, there's this idea of somebody who speaks for the voice of nature or the non-human beings on the board of those companies. But we probably want to have enough companies now, but that'll be another aspect.
No, thank you very much for your time today. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. We have our Gonma Youth Council. Welcome. It's great to have you here with us.
Thank you. Molly.
You're welcome to join us at the table or sit there if that's whatever you would like. Yeah. No worries.
Yep, so we're here to talk to you about what we've been up to and what our focus is. Yeah, so we ran two focus groups. So we ran one at the Gordon High School and one at Collingwood Area School, and we have been talking about one place. Yeah. And we found out like what they want and what resources they need. Yeah, kind of like we asked different issues in health and learning to do in the day. I remember what resources would benefit and those kind of questions. We kind of did like scales, questions, and like, yeah. And so the biggest feedback that we got was that mental health is bad in basic youth and they could benefit from education, privacy, like a lot of people know each other, so it's often difficult to get help, and then help at the lower levels of mental health issues rather than always the extreme. And so we also asked kind of what exactly they would benefit from, and a lot of people said getting a speaker in to come talk about it, because when you get education and resources and privacy, like it's to everyone, it's not just you going and getting help. So that's kind of like what we're planning on doing in the future, getting speaker and having something during youth week at one high school.
Yeah. So the speaker that we've reached out to one speaker so far, and we got a quote of $3,500. So plus more for traveling. So we do need to find someone that's a little bit more economical for us. But yeah, and then we do speak them 5 weeks away, and we're going to do a lunchtime session at the high school, and we're going to do like short running kind messages and supportive messages, and having some kai. So we get some food and stuff, and we're into that, yeah.
And then like towards more sometimes things like that, a youth like event. So we're going to do that during youth week. So we ran out of time.
We'll have like local performers and activities run probably in the park to be there. So, yeah. Well, that sounds amazing. That sounds really, really good. Has anyone got any feedback or comments for the youth council?
I've got one question that might be a bit sticky. And it is just about self-harm. And whether or not self-harm people who you know, survey or not.
It would include
It is an issue. Yeah, it is an issue. If I think it was included because we started off a project on mental health because of a survey that went out in last year, and I think that may have been a question there. But I think we know, I think like with this view that it does contribute to the problem. It's just hard to get around that. Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. It's great that you come along and let us know what you're up to. Do you think the other folk who really need help feel like that there's help available?
I think yes, on the extreme end, like they know they can maybe reach out, or if there's extreme anxiety, there's people that can help you reduce schoolwork and stuff like that. But often in the intermediate areas, you don't feel like you're suffering enough to ask for help. Yeah.
yeah, and that's like the responses that we got. People are saying they don't feel like that issue as valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you think that students are aware of what support is available for them?
Somewhat, yeah. They could be more.
That'd be good to know that, wouldn't it? And it's, I guess it's the responsibility of the school and the board and perhaps the school counsellor to you know, that's an area they should be looking around, is that young folk do know where they can go for help if it's not a school counsellor. So that's, yeah, that's of interest to me about, I've got a background in mental health. I was a counsellor for a long time, and I suppose that's something that was, and I've worked with young people who know. Yeah, so it's something that's of a lot of interest to me, is whether both are aware, and family, families and parents and caregivers are aware of, you know, the point at which somebody needs some help or some support or upping. And it's not useful, you know, young people things are getting pretty shut now, but you know, I need some help. But there's a whole lot of early intervention things that are very, very helpful. So that's something I have an interest in, and I'm not sure it's your responsibility to educate me about that, but
It's great.
Something interesting to bring into.
It's great that they've identified that though as a space in which they need work. So that's really, really good. So anything that you think that we could help with, please let us know, and it'd be great to have you come back on a regular basis. I know it's hard to get out of school and things like that, so really appreciate it. Thank you.
I wonder what funding, I just wonder think about funding too. There's some, you know, we don't have pots, like big pots of gold here, but we do have money available. It's pretty, you know, accessible. So there might be something we can think about and initiate, perhaps say, and not wait for an application, but we might do something here to move towards.
Well, we've got a financial update at the end, so that might be quite good.
We do.
It might be useful.
Mine didn't cut 3,500 for a speaker, but yeah.
Maybe we could each take turns. We could all go and have a word. No, you want someone that's professional. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome every time too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every board meeting. If there's something you bring up and there's something that, you know, you feel needs to come to the board, whether it be, you know, upgraded playgrounds or you know, other infrastructure like that, or else stuff, but what you need is just as relevant.
We're gonna go back to school then.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So that brings us to the end of our presentations. We could go into our reports. Or do people feel like they need a quick leg stretch coffee break or keep tracking? Great. Okay, board report.
Sorry, about the Commons.
Right. All right. So items from July public forum, they've all been dealt with, and information and requests forwarded through to staff for response. Just to bring the board's attention to the New Zealand board business column or board meetings column. You've probably seen the feedback. We've had some feedback from that. The people I received feedback from has actually been some good, interesting discussions around freedom of speech and opinions. So no, it was good. The board would like to offer its congratulations to Nelson King, who was recently recognised as the winner of Super Leader, and he was awarded that. So we would officially like to congratulate Nelson for that one. There has been a request from the New Zealand Police around the CCTV system. These cameras have proved extremely valuable in keeping our community safe and assisting them in their role. So it's been in place for 3 years, and police have requested our assistance to fund some additional cameras and upgrade 2 of the cameras one of which will be a license plate recognition. So you will, the suggested locations are there, and they John O and his team came up with them, along with Ron,
Rob.
the installer.
Oh, that, right.
Ron? No, the installer guy. So, yeah, so John is happy to come to a board meeting and answer any questions that we may have regarding
Good
this.
idea.
Would we prefer that before we have the discussion?
I would definitely like to, because I know that they came to me to see if I recognised that the camera wasn't good enough to pick up people's faces very
Yeah.
well, and it really made it difficult to identify offenders. So, you know, I don't know if I want to invest much more money into something that isn't going to actually do the
No,
job.
so that's possibly one of the two
Yeah,
cameras that needs upgrading that would have been identified by Ron. I think it's Ron. Okay, so I'll talk to John and get him to come along. Oh, well, that was easy. Hall hire guidance, Celia.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I actually don't have a lot to add to this. I just did ask for it to go onto our chair of board. And so I'm a member of the Audit and Risk Committee, which considers the risks of, as a template for the various risks to council of different situations. And this particular issue of council facilities being hired for events that could prove to be disruptive will be put onto this risk template that will be added on. That's really all I had to say. So a letter will be sent to council facilities, but the community, the committees that actually run the community facilities, which I think all of our halls in our region have a hall committee. There are two over the hill that don't. And I think the council's decision is that those halls actually, the council will reserve the right to decide whether or not events happen at those ones.
Right.
But the hall committees for our halls will retain the ability to make the decision. So that's and that letter will go to those committees, but it will be on the Audit and Risk Committee template, so it'll be monitored on an ongoing basis.
Thanks, Celia. Any comments or feedback regarding it? Oh, sorry, Robert.
I just noticed it said about the usage of council assets. Was that more than just the hall, or just the halls that you're focusing on? Well, I'm thinking about fields or village green or
Yeah. Well, see, those places don't have management committees, so well, I suppose the village green does. Yeah,
Yes.
the village green does.
And the rec centre here does with the fields.
Yeah.
The village
rec
green
centre does.
owned by council.
Yes,
It was gifted,
Yes.
they bought and gifted.
gifted to the
community,
council.
to the council.
Yes, and it's got a management committee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we'll have, I mean, this is a kind of new space for us. So we will have to we'll follow that up. Get an update.
So what's the stop, you know, does that also include playgrounds as well? I mean, we're starting to probably get into grey areas here, but you know, playgrounds as well, because some of them can have quite large spaces for groups to meet that are unsavoury.
No, we're just talking about
Hiring.
where they're
Hiring only.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
only talking about hiring.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Celia. And the bench seats, we have 2 bench seats left, or street seats left over after our Streets for People trial. The ones down at the corner of the high school there. The board have been asked to present a proposal for where we could relocate these within our Godalming community.
Has anyone ever sat in one?
I've seen a couple of kids. I haven't myself because I know that I'm struggled to get out of it.
Down by the tennis courts, maybe?
Ooh.
Well, we're down here.
Well, there's some cameras there.
Yes, fingers crossed.
I think sometimes, but I was thinking about it by the eyesight view of that park there, so some
Oh,
young folk
yeah.
hang out up there.
That's a
whenever I
nice
think
idea.
Louis Yuppie says I'm at the eyesight and they're sitting under the trees up there.
Oh, that's a nice
Um,
idea.
I was also thinking about the beach, it's sort of, the style of them seems suited to the beach area somewhere.
Maybe one at like a Bay Reserve.
Oh, yeah, like they were, Pohara there, just opposite.
Yeah,
Eco
opposite the community fair. I mean, I guess they were asking, do we want to put it out to the community and see if anyone wants them, or do we as a board just say, right, this is where we think that'd go well? Roger, I'll go back to Robert.
Might get 180 comments on
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
That's true.
Two of them.
And, well, what wasn't mine? Mine's good enough.
It's all right. No, let's go hold up.
Right.
Pretty big. It's still good placement.
We still,
There'll be some good
we still,
ideas.
we still got the
That's right.
bridge.
The beach,
Just a reminder, haven't we?
No.
We haven't got the bridge.
No. No, it's gone.
Is it?
Mhm.
there'll be some good ideas coming
Still sitting
alongside
on
some
the-
comments like, what a stupid idea to ask. or
They've placed the bridge.
what
Yeah,
people
I'm
can
sure they
do
will be.
since they
I'm
are.
sure they will. I'm sure we got rid of the bridge, didn't we? Yeah. Anyway, I'll follow that up too.
Nobody wanted the bridge.
No, it went to Nelson, I thought. Oh,
Okay.
TV.
I'm sure I saw it the other day somewhere. Still stored.
Oh, check.
What's down the road, that one?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not
Stored
there now.
there,
Well,
That's,
stored there, aren't
Yeah.
Yeah. You think you're right. That's where I saw it. Yeah.
oh, no. No. Right, I'll follow that up too. And just an acknowledgement of the pensioner housing and the hard work that the Moa Affordable Housing Trust did, and hoping that they will be successful in finding a suitable location. And the water conservation order. So just it's quite a bit of information, and yeah, we won't go through that because it was covered well in Debbie week here, so
I got a question about that.
Oh.
That's all right.
and would love to answer questions on the water conservation order.
We, we're in an election year, and shortly we're going to have an election of change of government, well, a government change, whether it be the same government or a new government, doesn't matter. And the water conservation order is now sitting ready to go to government's got about a couple of weeks. Actually, it must be a few days now before we know whether or not there's been any submissions to appeals. Thank you. If there's been no appeals, it's then sent to government to the Minister of Environment, I think it is, to put through his Parliament and make it into a legal document. Now, that takes us. Okay, so the government now is being dissolved on the 8th of September. For those who need to know that, because of the election. So that only gives us about 2 weeks for them to send the water conservation order to the member and to have it go through Parliament. If not, if that doesn't happen, it's probably going to be sometime next year before the water conservation order is actually made into legislation. And I'm just wondering, I'm just wondering if we need to sort of ask the Minister of the Environment whether or not they could get it through in the next couple of weeks if there's been no
It'll take years.
oh no, that should only take a short time when it gets to
I
that
think it
point.
takes a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, please, because I've had email correspondence on this as well.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I guess that's probably why there's quite a reasonable attempt to, in the chair's or the board report to set out where this thing is at.
Mm.
There's a short appeal period on the court's decision,
Yeah.
which you quite rightly referred to, and that's coming to an end.
Yeah.
But it hasn't ended yet. And then the recommendation will be taken to the minister.
Yeah.
Now, there is more down the track. At that stage, there's more opportunity for a more substantive appeal. So that's one that's quite, that's what will delay it going into the future. So if everything went through without an appeal at both of those levels, then the minister would, as you quite rightly say, will be in a position to make a decision. And that's going to be something that's for the new government, which almost never will be a new government of some form. It won't be one party. It will be a coalition of least to arrive at. So, what's in front of us, we can't predict. But it is, it's the first water conservation order of a groundwater resource. So it's quite novel in a number of sense. And it's certainly the first water conservation order that suggests an improvement over existing quality is required. So there's quite a lot to this. Yeah.
I guess it's in the realm of whatever work is underway in all the ministries of government. Governments change, but then all the things that are, some things get changed and stopped, but largely the work of the ministries carries on. It's not like it all just stops as the government, so whatever the Minister of the Environment, if it's a new one, they might have a different view than the current one, or whether they accept it or not, but it won't be just an opinion-based decision that a minister goes, I don't know about that. Like there'll be basis to why they would accept or
and I think this is normally packaged up at the same time the government go into recess. So does the briefings for incoming ministers from the departments go on ice. So they'll all be provided. So basically when a minister takes up the new role, there's a whole range of information coming through from officials which relate to important decisions, impending decisions, and this is almost undoubtedly going to be tied up in that as well. So the new minister will be fully briefed by officials at the time that they take, they become minister.
So you're saying there's two more appeals though?
There's a substantive appeal.
And what's the second appeal?
I suspect that that's around the nature of the decision the minister may make.
Okay.
But it's the more substantive of the appeal opportunities that exist rather than an appeal on the recommendations come through from the court. That's what you then do with that recommendation.
Thank you for clarifying that.
And if the minister is going to approve it and whatever they approve, in terms of the process from it getting from that decision through to an order, like the sort of legislative or legal process around that. I just imagine that takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, that could be a follow-up. Maybe we could sketch that out for the board. What happens if the minister did make a decision to approve it? What's the process?
Yeah, where do we sit with this as a board?
Well, you are like you're on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And just to say that this is, one aspect of this process is around this, going through and being an order or not. But, alongside it all, there's work going on among parties in terms of, the implications of this being implemented. And so it's not like that's the only thing that's going on. There's work going on, certainly in council and with landowners and others. Around it.
Come back on what the process is post ministerial decision. Should it be to approve it?
Yep. Right. Brilliant. Thanks, Kim. Item 11, board workshops, just a quick roundup of what we've been up to. Item 12 is the Golden Bay Promotion Association membership, which is due now at a cost of $286 inclusive of GST. Are the board happy to remain a member of Golden Bay Promotion?
Well, I note that in the reading the criteria for being a bronze member, that it really we're not really what it's designed for.
No,
So this is like a puha
yes.
Yeah.
in effect, isn't it? So it's because we're not.
No,
not
we don't
really fit into
benefit
the
from-
usual membership
I mean, we benefit
sort
as
of
a
things.
for the community, but yes, no, we don't
So-
fit into one of their.
So as long as we're upfront and transparent about that, I think that actually this is an annual puha that we're making to Golden Bay Promotions, and it's not like we're not supportive of the organisation. That happens through representation on it. Anyway, it's an unusual little setup, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. And Celia, you're on the Golden Bay Promotions Committee.
Yeah, I
and-
think that just by virtue of being on Main
Yeah.
Street,
Yeah.
you know, we're in the business district here, even though we're not a business, we are still
Well,
located
that
in
the
among the
Tasman
businesses.
District Council got the board.
And so, you know, it's up to the board to decide, but that's from there. I'm not sure who decided to join this. because I
It
don't
was
have
been
that
in place
history.
since I was first on,
And
we've always joined.
Yeah, so, from the point of view of Golden Bay Promotions, I know that, you know, they do appreciate membership, and membership does keep the board or the service centre. It does keep them up to date with what's happening because they're on, you know, mailing lists and stuff like that, so they know what's happening with other businesses down the street.
maybe the board should get those emails. So,
The community, what,
well, we're the board is actually the ones who are members. Maybe we should be kept up to date with what's going on too. Because really, if it's just going to the service centre, then that's not the board.
I know, I
You see what I'm
totally
saying?
understand that.
Yeah.
That is a.
Yeah, I mean, if we're paying as a board, I'd like to know what's going on.
Well, I am happy to move that we, as the Golden Bay Community Board, become a bronze member of the Golden Bay Promotions Association and pay our renewal of $286. Can I have a sec? No, no? Oh,
Other organisations that have token membership as well. Who
I'm not
aren't
sure.
other
Serious?
businesses who aren't tourist ventures.
Joe knows.
Are we just that?
Oh, yeah, Joe does.
You do?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, nice.
We're in good company.
Yeah, I'm just,
Cool.
maybe there could be maybe we could make a suggestion to them that there is a Koha membership rather than a bronze membership that's kind of as a like that, maybe, I don't know.
Well,
I
I'm
think it's
happy to
semantics,
see
but,
that.
a second, thank you. So we have a second. All those in favour?
Aye.
Gary, thank you. All right. There's a little bit of information about keeping New Zealand beautiful. The entries are open. They are closing soon, I believe. Yes, next week. Right. Maybe that could be something we'll focus on for next year, put that in our plan. Correspondence received an update from the Tactical Response Unit from the New Zealand Police. It's attachment 2. A letter of request for the support for Golden Bay, of the Golden Bay Toy Library, who requires support. Oh no, that's the actual one, sorry. So they are applying to the Rata Foundation for wages, as I understand it, for a trust, for a funding coordinator. Think of it. But anyway, so yes, they want a support letter from Golden Bay, supporting the Golden Bay Toy Library.
Really good job, I think, it's great. I'd be more happy to for that.
Great,
So,
me too.
Same, I think, you know, a lot of committees these days are finding it hard to get, you know, often it's the same people on them, aren't they? I mean, we should have an
Work with
award
same
each year.
people.
The community board could actually have an award each year for the person who's on the most committees.
Get one
Golden
on
Bay. And if you were treasurer and secretary, that'd be two.
So you
If
take,
you
yeah,
know.
president, treasurer, secretary, that's
So, you
fine.
know, so I think, you know, the idea that someone gets a small part-time job,
To
you
do
know,
it,
to
yeah.
run the toy library, I support that.
Mm.
This sort of, you know, busy mums or dads with
Mhm.
goodness knows what else they're doing and chipping in their hours to the toy library. I support it fully.
Great.
And I do like the idea of that award.
Mm.
I've got a top of
Yeah.
mind already, some people that would be
Like the guys
highly
next to
likely.
you.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's right.
Cool, all right, so is everyone happy if I word that up and flick it off with
Yep.
Jeff? Do you want to see it first? Great. A letter from Tish Potter regarding Liger Bay Beach Reserve. So this is operational, not governance, so Jess has flicked a response back to Tish advising her of that. And just
So, but there'll be response from
From
the
staff, yeah, from
Okay.
staff, yeah. Again,
Sorry, bearing in
Sorry.
mind that the community board can decide on trees.
yes,
What about?
this is the dangerous trees at the Pahara Beach one you're talking, or you're talking about?
No, I was talking about
Like a bay, I think, well, we checked, and we were actually, that's a real good reminder. I was going to check with Lynn if he dials in for the next item about those to see if they had been considered.
Yeah,
Same again with the Pahara Beach trees.
yes.
So we'll do that with Lynn.
Wouldn't like it, Bay. I've raised this. I think it might have been before I was on council, you know, when I was meeting with Lynn or maybe Beryl around some other matter. But I was told, you know, so the trees get washed away or, you know, die or something. And I asked about, you know, how come council isn't just sort of planting up these foreshore areas for shade, retaining the foreshore, all that, and there was some issue around, well, people have bought a batch across from there and have a view of the sea and they've got a right to that, and although you don't get anyway. So there is something in it, I think, for the board to consider. So although Tish has brought this to the board, and we say it's an obs thing and staff can reply around what we're doing on reserves and what we're not, I think there's something in it for the board around what.
Yeah, I'd like, I mean, I would like to
thinking
say,
is, because I just, and you know, I've said it before about Liger Bay is getting washed away, the reserve strip getting washed away year after year, and getting even closer to the hump where it's always going to wash down onto the road. You know, it wouldn't hurt for us. I guess the reserve management plan review that's going to take place after 20 long years, due sometime for Golden Bay, is it 25 years or something out of date? But
Yeah, I agree, and I think we don't, I mean, we do get a report about what money is spent on reserves, on coastal care and this type of thing, but we don't seem to have dialogue with reserves about the reserves department about managing these reserves, and I did actually bring that up at our strategic planning day, and I think it would be good to perhaps, you know, more of a dialogue.
okay, we can add it to our next.
Because I completely agree.
I think one of the things about Liger Bay, they have a lot of pahulicawas planted along the front. And they were planted specifically for children who had died in Golden Bay, about 18 or something, yeah. And they were, you know, memorial trees. And I don't know too much more about it. I think there's a bit of information about it. Someone, that's what I'm told. These trees are getting washed away now. You never heard that? Okay. Right. Right, that's maybe it was just a myth, but I'm told that's what I thought, but maybe not. We do need.
Well, that's something we can talk to Lynn about as well.
yeah,
Good. And the fifth letter about the removal of trees at the Pahara Beach, it's not signed, but And they're asking for, council arborists things to be peer reviewed.
Just a second letter.
No, there's a second, the fifth letter is, an anonymous letter requesting that we carefully identify
that's
trees.
That's
Is that Trish? Is that Trish as well?
She's
Oh, 61, she's got the same address, not signed at 61 it is. Oh, good, I didn't even click to that. Oh, perfect, so that's the same, perfect, so that worked well with Lynn as well.
And we did actually leave it with a question about the replacement trees that have been suggested.
Yes,
Didn't we? We had some discussion and we felt that more
and there was some information,
needed to be, you know, there needed to be a more competitive kind of consideration of types of trees.
yes, and there was some information on Facebook I saw on the TDC from TDC regarding the Chinese elm, or am I thinking about a different tree? Chinese something, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's another one that's,
That was an invasive
yeah,
pest.
that's not that one.
Not that one, okay.
That's Taiwan cherry.
Taiwan, oh, not even close.
Different.
Different one. Not even close.
Yes,
It's
just as a
terrible.
matter of interest, we never actually got to see the arborist report. We saw the report from council, but we never saw the arborist's actual report.
Well, I did actually ask Jack Stevens, and he said he has seen the arborist report. The arborist report was done by an arborist who apparently is on the staff at TDC now, and he said it was a very comprehensive report. So we can still ask to see it, but evidently it was very comprehensive.
I trust the arborist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, totally opposite with still trees. Can someone remember or remind me to ask Lynn when they're planting the tree on the village green? Yeah, thank you. I just thought it suddenly went, oh, that's not there yet.
Do I know what it is yet?
Or the committee was choosing, so they may not have reached a. We'll find out.
Tree work committee.
Okay, all right, we'll put that all to Lynn. Great. So that brings us down to our action sheet. Now,
We've still got the report going from that.
yes, yeah, she's up next. Soon. So there was an item left over from the last meeting. And a group had requested a letter of support seeking to reinstate an early childhood centre service in Collingwood. And because I wasn't at the meeting, I wasn't quite sure what you were supporting. Were you supporting just a generic open letter of yes, Collingwood needs an early childhood, just being yeah, okay, so just a general generic, who was it to, who was it, what was it?
What I thought it was to do with the data that they were wanting. It was about the Nelson Tasman Kindergarten
Right.
Association wanting to establish an actual kindergarten. That was from my recollection, but we probably have to look back at the.
Yeah, we did, we scrolled back, but couldn't see anything that would give us any useful direction, just because I wasn't at that meeting, and I went to write and went, oh, I'm not quite sure what I'm writing.
Right, well, it was a kindergarten.
Yeah,
Not an early childhood centre.
so it was a kindy,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a blanket early childhood. Okay,
No,
cool.
it was kindergarten. I'm sure I'm pretty sure that's what do you have a recollection, Robert, about that?
I'm trying to remember.
So right, we can go back
That's
through
why
the
we've got
recording.
minutes.
It's my presentation.
Yeah,
No,
the
it
letter of
wasn't in the
request from
report. It
Brazil.
was just a
Well, we should have a record of the letter.
Yeah, we've got the letter, so we'll just go off that.
Yeah,
Cool.
should be.
That'll
Happy.
be much more accurate than we'll be.
Just checking everyone's happy for me to do that.
I did have an email from Hugh from Collingwood Area School. In response to something around that, and I didn't give him a call. He said, I might be interested to have a call about this, and I didn't, I just got very busy and. So there's something happening there.
I could call him. Shall I call him?
Oh, yeah, is it a call?
Yeah.
So it
Why
was
not?
in response to this conversation in Collingwood around ECE.
Okay.
So,
I'll give him a call. Oh, good. Cool, thank you.
yeah, I don't know whether that.
Oh, now the special projects funding. So we've got some good update information about that coming. So we'll skip over that one. I don't like the new action sheet. I don't like the way it's laid out. Take me a while to fix it.
Could have offered you a cup of tea, I suppose, wouldn't
Yeah, that the Gone Back Committee will request a standard service agreement for Heritage Takaka Cycleway. Ponding and flooding issues be remedied, cycleway maintenance. Spray was completed last week. There's not a lot we can do about the drainage. This is due to low-lying land. However, we've done some metalling. Anyway, everyone can read that, that's fine. So that action can come off anyway.
We're still getting a lot of people parking on it.
Yeah.
And that's still in that same spot?
Yep.
Yeah.
Have we
And
been?
part of the problem
have
with
we
the
been-
parking is making it hollow and causing big large puddles.
Have we been taking photos and sending it through to compliance?
Yes.
I'd say too, I noticed that the big puddle that's been made, it's quite a big puddle that's been made by the cars parking outside that property, those two properties. And now I notice they're parking somewhere else because they made a big puddle and now they're able to step out into it.
Oh,
Now
they're
they're
making
parking
Paco,
down
they're
in
making
the
another big
Which I
puddle.
just think is hilarious.
It's a shame we can't
Send them
bollard
a
that
bill.
particular part.
I've thought of that, I've thought of that.
Why can't we
Putting
just have a little
roadside markers out
barriers?
about, you know, like it's just nuts, isn't it?
Mm.
We send
I was
them
at
a
the,
bill.
Because they've got them at Motopipi, there's the safety poles with the no parking.
yeah.
Maybe should we
Yep.
request that
There
next?
was a vehicle parked there yesterday as I came back from the dump, and there was a whole bunch of people who had to stop and wait for traffic to pass with dogs and kids and everything, who were cycling towards Pahara. And I thought, yep, there you go, there's the example. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And people to come to go around it,
Yeah.
pulling out into
Yeah.
oncoming traffic.
Traffic behind them.
I'll ask Robert if we can install some of those little.
Yes, there's quite a bit of room
So-
in there, because I've had a good gander as I go by.
Yeah.
I was at the Cycleways AGM the other night, and we've spoken about there too, just about how frustrating it is that, in terms of there's not much we can do about low-lying levels on the path, and, you know, I'm happy to pick this up again, because I don't think it's maintained to the level it could be and should be. And it doesn't take much of a ride along it, that actually you're in mud quite a lot of the time in some places, particularly back opposite Sunbelt Crescent there. So although that's low lying, you can fill it in. You know, like it could be filled up, and some of that was done
Well, it's not all.
last
yeah.
term. That was raised as an issue, and some filling in happened in some area of it.
Yeah, it's a fill issue, not a low lying issue, because if it was a
So-
low lying issue, the whole thing would be underwater.
So
And
I
it's
wondered
not.
about finding out who to meet from staff on site to wander down it and say, look, what can we just get some more, and meddle on where it's mud
Robert,
from
Okay.
parking.
Jackie's here.
people.
no, he's escaped again. He's not,
Gone.
he was super quiet. I'll talk, do you want me to talk to Robert, or do you want to get him?
I think I'll meet with him.
All right.
I know that Graham Rimmers over doing project management for other things here, and
Okay, well, I'm happy to be involved too, Chris, if you
just
need.
want to
the
meet with
extra.
someone from staff on site to say, look, this and this
Yep.
and that down there.
Right,
And also there's an issue where you turn off into the dump. So the bike's supposed to give way.
Mm.
And the giveaway signs, those, you know, little
Little triangles.
so that you can see them in the distance, because if I was biking, it was down there. You know, you don't actually see them, so they're up, I guess, for a reason. But when people come to there, someone who lives up that way said that nearly every time they go around there, and it's a cyclist, the cyclist just shoots through.
Yeah.
Isn't looking, so there needs to be a bit of an adjustment to the, you know, you need to stop. Maybe we need to have some different signs like that.
Mm.
But-
Sorry, I'm just thinking.
No.
Sorry.
If I might say something, it's sort of way,
No,
if I might say something, sort of way.
sure,
The area between the Motopipi school and going up the yellow lines up towards top of the hill, where you turn up the golf course.
Yeah.
On there, there's a drop from the tar seal, about that much, all the way along. The tar seal is broken back. There's no edge on the road. And with that being 80K along there,
Yeah.
80K along there, solid structure come along there, with their wheel right near to that car seal.
Yeah.
And
okay.
they're passing you within a metre of you if you walk a bike on the track. 80K.
Yeah.
1 metre. They say cyclists should be given 1.5 metres. There's not 1.5 metres there, for the solid structure on the road.
Yeah.
But that's my, I'm a frequent user of
Yeah.
Yeah.
walking
No,
outside.
that's good. All right.
It's scary.
Mm,
Yes.
exactly. Thank you.
Do we need to actually ask for a review of the whole track? I know it sounds like a big thing, but
No, it's not
do we
silly.
need to? Do we, I mean, you know, these points which I'm
Mm,
gonna keep raising is, it's not the most, the safest track, and I do see a lot of cyclists not using it too.
This is getting
It's good reason.
tired. Flavor on it, why do not speak that full flavor off?
It's scary.
mm,
It's like biting on marble.
mm,
The cycleway group thought, you know, they're very good and wanting to work with council, so there's quite a lot's been achieved in that relationship, it's great. And the other night they were saying that maybe what could be helpful is that they work with council around a 1, 2 and 3 year plan about getting it maintained back up to where it should be and how to keep it maintained. So it might well be that Alex is gonna link in as well.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll get some good feedback from your on-site meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'm happy to move that the chair's report be accepted. Can I have a second? Sorry, board report. There you go.
Can we just make the amendment at the beginning where it says chair's report?
So chair report at the beginning too. I will make it to the next one, it'll be fine. Yeah, a good call.
Is that Christian board report or Christian side report?
Board report. Board report. Yeah. Okay, so can I have a seconder for the board report, please?
Yep.
Excellent. Seconded by Deputy Chair Knowles. All those in favour? Lovely. Now, do we have Lynn in the waiting room or do we? She's there. Oh, she is too. It's just an L for Lynn. I'm just wondering though, we do have the request for the approval of the new street name, or she'll get skip to Lynn first and then go back. Well,
Go to Lynn.
is it all right?
Yeah.
Great. So we should have Lynn and Grant.
Kia ora, koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. So I put up a report about the future of the tennis pavilion at Pahara Recreation Reserve. I will take the report as read. So I guess the recommendation really was that we just retain the building and remove all the internal walls, replace the lining, and install a camera there. And I guess I'm seeking a resolution from the community board, hopefully to support that, but otherwise whatever the community board recommends. So are there any questions for me?
Chris.
Well, I was going to move the resolution, but I'll wait for what the questions of that.
I have one.
Yeah, go. I'm just trying to make sure my question's not actually in the report. Go.
Okay. Is it possible to have a committee, a little bit like the Pohara Hall or some of the other hall committees, actually take responsibility for this, so that it keeps it maintained, it keeps it tidy, and the community look after it, an official committee? I don't know if we've actually got that at the moment, and I'm just wondering if that's an option for the longer term of this. Otherwise we might end up with the same sort of problem.
Through the chair, I'm not quite sure what the answer is to that. I guess we could consider setting up a committee. It would take a while to do so. Meantime, the building's just getting worse and worse. I guess in a way, it would be great if the tennis, the court users, so the informal tennis club, for want of a better word, perhaps might be interested in taking a bit more ownership of the building.
Yeah, through the chair, that's exactly kind of what I meant. Actually, Now, we do the work, but to guarantee it's still in a healthy position, a little bit like Pohara Hall, or could it be the Pohara Hall committee that take that one on board? I don't know if that's even possible, but yeah, just options.
Yep, through the chair. Yeah, that perhaps the hall committee, if they were interested, could be. I did have a group there 18 months ago that were homeschooling and who were really interested in taking ownership of, or guardianship, if you like, of the building. And I had the walls painted where the worst graffiti was with just an undercoat, and they were going to come through. The kids were going to come through and give it a bit of a zhuzh up, a bit of artwork, if you like. And that group just disappeared off the face of the planet. So that was a great concept, but it didn't come to anything.
You know, we've got official committees with polls, so I think there has to be something on that.
Chris.
Serious.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't support the idea of a committee, because I think that most of the issues to do with courts are actually to do with maintenance and funding, and it's just something that I think Parks and Reserves needs to look after. And there certainly can be an informal group who could maybe come through the community board and put the information through to Parks and Reserves about, and in fact we've heard today from Public Forum, because we've got the tennis players here in Public Forum, that there are other issues with the courts to do with the surfacing and the trees and that type of thing. So as far as I can see, I think that the community board could actually be, could be and communicate with Parks and Reserves about issues there.
Yeah. Thanks, Lynn, and thanks for those in Public Forum.
Great. You're going to put the resolution?
I might
Go on
bring a little talk first.
Oh, go on.
So, in terms of, I see in the options page, it talks about, doing nothing and what would be wrong with that, and the mention of the heritage, the heritage or historic value and sentimental value. And, I was one of the, when East Takaka Club closed, it was Tarakohi was my club down there, and back then there was a heck of a lot of tennis played in Golden Bay. Like there were clubs right around the bay, out at Collingwood, at East Takaka, down there, somewhere else I'm not remembering. Here we go. And there were really big inter-club things going on, and so it died away at some point. We used to have the Golden Bay Open here, and people would travel from Marlborough and other places to come and play in it, from Nelson. So I think it's the thing about the pavilion to me is a nod to that time and a nod to community things that were built and that were held dear. And I'm very supportive of it being done up to some degree, that it's in a reasonable condition and not getting wrecked. So certainly support cameras going in down there, and as soon as they go in, the better, I would say, than waiting for it to do it up and then put some cameras in. I mean, I'd like it if they were put in pretty quickly. So in terms of the other issues around the fence and the trees and the servicing, this is a council facility asset, and I think it should be
proper service request through at our first, shouldn't we?
We put a service request through around that, and the reserves team will make an assessment around, I guess, support service and things.
Yeah, cool.
And maybe it wouldn't be impossible for the board to. Anyway, that's another thing. But so I'm going to move the resolution that we received the report and we request staff to repair the pavilion, including removal of the internal walls, security camera, estimated cost of about $10,000.
Just in terms of repairing the mural was done by Chris Finlayson, I understand. And, yeah, would you be asking him to repair it or?
Through the chair, there are some holes in it that would need to be repaired. Either the chap that's potentially will do the work to remove the internal walls, etc., can bog that up, and we just need to look at graffiti removal and touching up of the mural. So it would just, I'll have a chat with Chris and see what he says. Otherwise, we may be able to do it, you know, without going through Chris.
Thank you.
And
I
what-
just- yeah, I think
sorry.
I'd just like to, we just need to recognise the quality of the mural. Yeah.
And the security camera, Lynn, would that feed back into the Tākeka police station feeds?
I am just working with the installer, Ken Eccles, at the moment, just to work out the
that's lovely.
solution.
Yeah.
And we'll, I think it probably might be recorded. I'm not quite sure how it will work because we've got some issues there with power and hooking into internet, or, you know, we just got to work out what the right camera is going to be for that location there.
Okay, cool. I know it's all good because, yeah, perfect. All right, well, we're going to move it. I'm happy. Yep, Grant's happy to second. All those in favour? Aye. Great, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, we need to catch up with you, Lynn, about other trees, but I might flick you an email actually because it's already 3 o'clock and we've got other things to get through too. So I'll email you, Lynn, about the Pahara trees and the Lager Bay trees.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Can I just say one point, I think, if we're putting a camera in, I think it'd be a good idea with a darkness censored security light.
Oh, yeah.
So the light's building up, because at night time, when the youth are in there with the cans or vape or whatever, you know, I mean, we've had a ton of glue there something. Now, if it's lit up as well as the cameras, so
Oh, yeah,
it
lights.
might give them, when it's light, it may deter them, but.
Oh yeah,
it's just-
I think Lynn's still here, so that's good.
Thank you very much for your.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Appreciate it. Some floodlights and some music might deter the youth.
Thank you.
Classical elevator music. It'll
Oh,
fix
no,
them.
was it?
Thank you very much.
So
See you.
thanks, Mondi.
What about Robertson Park? Protest?
Oh, thanks. We like that. Excellent. All good. All right. Okay. Request for approval of a new street name, Mr. Drummond.
Right, yes, this report was prepared by my former EA, Linda Atkins. And just a quick word to my current EA, Kylie, being in the audience today, making up the numbers. So yes, this is a pretty straightforward matter. I'll take the report as read, but it's looking to rename the street, well, private right of way of Martinga Road in Lager Bay. And it's looking to use the name, if I recall, Rani Eda. Is that the correct way to say it? Rani Eda? Yeah, Rani Eda Way of Martinga Road, Lager Bay.
So what does Rami Yetta?
Chair, it's just one of the, is this often one of the new subdivision streets?
Oh, it's the son
Yeah.
of Martina. Yep, that makes sense. Okay.
Mm.
All right.
So that's been through Manawhana Kiwahua.
I'm happy to move that.
Just jump in there. All right, I'll second it.
There's the one.
All those in favour?
Right.
It's easy
So
to
much.
do when it's all done right, though. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool, thanks everybody. The financial update has my name next to it, but I'm going to defer to Kim because he will explain it better than I will with better words.
And
Is that
how
all right,
do I do
Kim?
that?
Now we have our let me find out. Actually, maybe I can have good words. Good Lord, come on. When you're ready. All right. So a while ago we had our oh no, this is just the information only, isn't it?
Yeah, this is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, interesting. Right, happy to take it as read. Any questions comments, Robert?
No, no comments, because it's the end of the year report. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
one of
that's
those.
what it is. Cool, all right.
We did, was it just, was it last week that the council that we did approve the
Yeah.
transfer? Was it this last week?
Yeah, yes,
That's what you were thinking.
that's what I was
yeah.
thinking it was, and I'm like, oh no, it's not
And
that,
we'll
but
bring that
we
forward to the next.
the next
Yeah,
meeting.
just letting you know that.
Yeah.
Of course.
I know. So exciting, and now we get to
When
decide.
yeah,
Youth council speakers and stuff.
because when does council ever vote against anything the board wants?
Doesn't. Neither,
Not this
not in my
council.
memory.
Not this last term or two.
Cool. So is everybody happy with the happy to accept the financial report? Have a mover. Great. Councillor Butler, seconder. Board member Hewison, all those in favour?
Right.
Right. Okay, and I, jeepers, are we?
Are we doing it late? I thought.
Oh, yes, thank you, sorry, thank you, before we finish, yes. The request from Public Forum, Arnev.
The letter that we sent.
The letter, he requested a letter and because it's going to be before our next meeting.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert, we almost, I wrote it down twice too. He requested, we'll start when I've got much need to handwriting. So in his email, he requested, wants us to put pressure on Creative New Zealand for urgent feedback, wants us to identify potential funding alternatives for them. And wants us to encourage Creative New Zealand to fund his event. When he was speaking, he didn't sort of pull that out, he just basically wants support for his event. My issue is he's charging $200 a ticket. And even, and he was saying how many, I can't remember that off the top of my head, 2,000 people, so that's $400,000. Is that my maths right?
Possibly.
Yeah, roughly.
Still got this folder,
And it had a $200,000
He took
budget
it.
last year.
the Luton folder.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so, yeah, to folder, yeah. So he's saying, I'm wondering why he needs funding.
Because he said he had a $200,000 budget last year.
Yeah.
Cost, $200,000 cost.
Which he sort of underwrites personally.
Yeah, so he's made $200,000 from last year, if that's the same.
Yeah, if you're looking at the same
Well,
numbers.
Is it profit or is that what it costs to run it and
I
the
think
money
it's what
that
it
comes
costs to
in
run it.
pays for it all? I didn't look into the. I didn't see if there was
Well,
any
then,
budget things in there, but I think is the issue, so you're on the creative communities thing, so you've probably got.
Well, the issue
something to offer
is
here.
it art?
Well, the issue is
Is
it
it,
a
that
festival?
is the issue, is
Yeah.
it art, you know, and so these festivals are very tricky. Because,
Yeah.
are they actually, dance
Like a dance
parties,
music.
or are they a chance to have a party, or are they actually a creative event?
Go back to Creative New Zealand.
You're gonna
and
get
their,
quoted, Celia.
what they actually, what they funded on,
mm,
in this Creative Communities round. They funded things, they funded festivals that were sort of more festivals and not really dance parties. So the events that missed out were more seen as dance parties rather than festivals. And there's this fine line, this grey area between what's a dance party and a festival. I also made the comment to him the other day when we met that a lot of these parties and festivals, I'll use both words because I don't want to know, are actually they're running under the radar of resource consent because they can, which means they don't have to have potable water, they don't have to have an ambulance on board the whole time. They do have to have a fire management plan, but they don't have to have a rubbish plan. They don't. There's a whole lot of things they don't need to have, and I feel very uncomfortable supporting any event that doesn't have that strict criteria of what is probably required, not by law because we don't need it, but for public safety. So I'm a little bit reluctant for that reason.
Very persuasive board member Knowles.
mm,
It's interesting, isn't it? And I know that it's not a trust, so it's like a, that's one of the reasons why I think they can't get access to some of the
Private business.
creative New
Private.
Zealand
Creative New
money.
Zealand will fund private individuals to run festivals.
They
But
do,
Usually.
they do.
They do.
Okay,
But usually they say, because I looked into it, back in 2009. It might have changed, 2008, it might have changed, but they usually say that you need to apply for at least 3 festivals before you even get funding. So you've got to prove yourself to be able to have have the event without their funding, even though you apply for it. That was the criteria. I think it might have changed. I don't know.
Well, they've obviously tried to create New Zealand,
Yes.
like the national,
Yes.
because it hasn't come through the
No.
Tasman committee.
No, it's different. There.
No, so you can apply depending on how much you want. If you're after a big amount of money, you go to Creative New Zealand.
Yeah.
But that bar is very, very high,
Yeah.
extremely high.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
I mean, then for us to, so what's being asked for is a letter of support.
Encouraging Creative New Zealand to pay the funds requested.
Well, we just don't know enough about, we absolutely do not know, because I don't think we should give a letter of support unless we know that this is is actually, has got a substantial element of performance, creative performance in it.
But it does say in the email he's having workshops, but he doesn't specify what they are. And on the website, he's invited people who are interested in running the workshops to apply to him. So,
And mostly DJs and DJs.
thank you.
Some of them-
Video job stuff, live video.
Like TikTok and stuff.
Like live video.
Oh, not like TikTok.
Like it's like
Lazy
live
Susan.
lazy
Oh,
Susan.
right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, thank you.
Lazy Susan.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that kind of around the music
That'd be
scene,
fun. I'd do
which is,
that.
music is legitimately obviously art. I'm not knocking it. And there's a lot of New Zealand artists, a lot of overseas artists that come to it. And it does provide a little bit of support for the community, but I don't know how much
In
support
what
that
way?
is. That people come in and buy a coffee after
Oh,
they've been to
no.
the festival.
Yeah, but the rubbish that they
Yeah.
generate outweighs that by far.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with creative communities.
No. And creative communities have a funding pool, which obviously, and like I say, I looked at the criteria and I looked at who got it and who didn't. And the ones that got it and the ones that didn't, it was quite obvious that the dance parties versus, and it's a very grey area, like I say, dance parties versus legitimate festival, and actually to find the festival, he is trying to change the narrative. He says it's alcohol free, doesn't say it's drug free, and that's another thing which I think needs to legitimize it too.
Gathering was alcohol free 30 years ago.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
That's right.
What I'm interested in is sort of the financial frame of how things work, like the whole budgeting thing of it. Like I don't know, but it just seems like if we're supporting someone's funding application, like it's we've been on this track before, I think, where we're offering letters of support for someone wanting funding from some organisation. But actually what we need to be more specific, I think, where we have a letter from the organisation saying, I'm making an application to Creative New Zealand for $100,000 for this, then and receive that, and then we can respond to it and say we support this exactly. So we've been on this road before, haven't we? About
just
wanting
did it.
something specific.
And not making
Just-
someone's time pressures out.
Just did it a few minutes ago. The Toilo, they're doing funding application to
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
They're very clear in what they've asked for, though.
Well,
They're
yeah, I
asking
know,
for
just
wages.
making that point.
Right.
that
They're
point,
very
just-
clear in
yeah.
what they've asked for, and they provide a service, a very almost free service to go on back.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So someone presenting at public forum, just needs to be something more concrete, I think, and just to have some basic understanding around, yes, it's a private business, it's not run by a trust or something, and people are employed in Golden Bay. Some of the stuff around, we have this whole thing around like the bloody rubbish coming out of festivals being a problem for the community.
And the mental health stuff that ends up kind of trickling through Te Whare, through mental health over here. there is definitely a lot of.
And it puts a lot of pressure on,
A lot of pressure on
on,
them.
on the hospital as well, because they deal with the fallout
as well.
first.
I don't know what other funding sources these festivals can
Well,
apply
I don't
to.
know that that's our job. I
No,
just
no, it's not our job at
No.
all, but if the fallback is creative communities, it's going to be looked at by creative communities through a very strong lens as to whether or not it is actually art or has a significant component of art or creativity. So I don't know that a DJ is not considered to be performance.
Well, it is.
Don't say that, you fat boy.
You're gonna make headlines here, I'll be careful you guys.
Yeah. I think it is, but it,
Okay.
Everybody's a DJ.
I think
You
part
do.
part of the problem is that these folks really want to become legit, and they really, and a lot of them do want to become legit, and they really want to see the world kind of open up to them as a as a legit functioning festival, and they do want to. There's a new generation. These things started back in '93 on top of the Takapuna Hill, first one in New Zealand, Intrade, 1993, and we had hundreds of festivals ever. Parties, dance parties, ever since. And there's a new generation, and they are trying to change that narrative. And I good on them. And I think it's going to take time for a lot of the people who fund these sort of things, who see these things as festivals, to actually, or more than just dance parties, to see them as legitimate festivals. That isn't going to happen overnight.
No, and what criteria do we want? You know, I mean, what criteria do we want to see satisfied as a board around offering a little support for possibly a large amount of money? I mean, I don't know that our little support's going to make a heck of a lot of difference, but we'd want to, I think the things that you raised, Grant, are like, you know, we'd want to know from somebody, here's what we're applying for, here's the reasons why we are meeting environmental concerns, cultural concerns, stuff around rubbish, around health, around, you know, I just feel like, I don't know, because we've said no in the past, haven't we?
I think with this one as well, because he's already been to Creative New Zealand, they've rejected it.
Yeah.
And then he's asking us to facilitate prompt feedback from Creative New Zealand and encouraging our acceptance into the upcoming round, even though there's no funding.
Can I just explain that a
Yes,
little bit more
can you
clearly? So when you can apply for money from Creative New Zealand, they'll say yes or no.
Yes.
And if they say no, you get an opportunity to then go back to them and say, can I have some feedback on why you said no, or what was wrong with my application that could have made it better for the next time? So he's done this. It takes them at least 3 weeks to get that through, or maybe more, 6 weeks. And in the meantime, there's a second round, only a second round, not until next year, but there'll be a second round this year, and it's coming up 10 days or a week after he gets his feedback. So he's not going to get his feedback to make a better application until a week out from the next application.
So are you saying he's asking us to write a letter to support a second application?
Yes, the second application. It's the second application that he's going to be putting in.
And for this kind of support, I would like this, like, more detail,
Yeah.
more history, but engage with us before the first application. Because sadly, to me, it feels like the application not been accepted, so he's gone scrambling a bit and he's come to the community board. But we should have been engaged earlier if he wanted our support.
Yeah. But probably would have had that information earlier. That's the problem. Unless he'd come into it a few months ago before he put his first application in.
Where does the festival get held?
Up the cob,
Up at Harwood's.
Blue Hole.
He's also
Blue
running
Hole.
a dance party on top of the Takapuna Hill.
Oh, no, not
the
Blue Hole.
bridge.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, is this
Where
the-
they have twisted.
and up on the hill.
Well, he's doing a separate one, which is a dance party, not a festival, up on top of the Luminac site. Earlier in January.
You know, I just would like a bit more information actually before we support, so I know what I'm supporting and what they're actually applying for and what we're saying yes to, and
Yeah, it
Those
feels just
things.
listening to all the conversation, there's a no. Grant, you wanted to respond to him with some useful information for next time. Do you still want to do that or are you?
I actually probably told everything that I've already said today. I've already told him that in person when he met with me last week. So actually, I'm probably not. I think just to know whether I consider it. I mean,
We need to say how, yeah, how come.
yeah,
Well,
sure.
I don't think we just say, nah,
Well, I
yeah,
think
nah.
it-
You know, what if,
I think it would be good if he could articulate sort of the community benefits to, like, as the community board, that's kind of our
yeah,
wheelhouse, and if he can say, come and say, we've got this, you know, these 5, 6 benefits, direct benefits to the local community,
Yeah,
this is, you know, then that would be something I could be on board with, but from what he was saying, that it's not specific enough, not community focused, not community focused enough.
Yeah.
For community board support, you know. Yeah.
If I could just add to that, I think you've also raised the point about the risk assessment. So there's no doubt there's benefits, but there's also some downsides.
Yeah, yeah,
And so you want to know about what those
Yeah.
downsides are and what mitigations are in place to
imagine the headline in the newspaper.
community board support.
With my front page, yeah. Okay, so that is a general no. So do we need to email him later or we just?
I think we need to respond saying how
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
And we feel like that we want more detail around,
Yeah.
just how it works as a sort of structure financially, like, you know, I don't know.
Thank you.
Well, if you left us with the folder, we could have had a look.
But also that,
Most of the
Yeah.
and also the points that
Thousand words each.
Henry's raised around community good and
Yeah,
also
that's
the
a very
criteria,
good point.
environmental issues that we want to be the rubbish that we can
See, none of those things will have any traction with creative receiver.
Mm.
They're not interested in any of those
No.
issues. All they're interested
Is it
in
art?
is whether or not it is a creative process.
Yes. And we're interested in those other things.
Yeah.
And they
We're
can be
interested in the
as
other
they
things,
like.
but creative New Zealand is not.
Excellent. Oh, well, thank you, everybody, unless there's any more to add. Thanks so much, Elaine.
Okay, closing character.
Yeah, absolutely. Closing cover care.
Karakia tātou, ki ohora te marino, ki whakapapa Pounamu te moana, aroha atu, aroha mai, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much.
The next meeting is in Collingwood.
It is Collingwood, 9:30.
Oh, it's going to be a morning one.
Oh, no, sorry.